Okay, it's 6:30, so we will begin. This is the City Council meeting for the City of Fairway, Kansas. It is Monday, May 12th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and Nathan has an announcement, which we're all just going to love.
Yeah, we're having some issues with our video system. The audio seems to be working fine, so I did print out the agenda for each of you as well as the new business items, so you've got those. We will have everything recorded on Zoom, so we will still be able to upload to YouTube tomorrow for the public to see, but nothing on our display or yours for this evening.
Okay. Will you know if there's anyone online?
I will.
Okay.
Yep.
So I will ask during public comment then. Okay. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have two proclamations this evening that I would like to read into the record. The first one is National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Fairway, Kansas. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Fairway to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now resolved that I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. Dated this 12th day of May, 2025. The second proclamation is for National Police Week. Whereas the United States Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Fairway Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Fairway, Kansas. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the Fairway Police Department has evolved into a modern and progressive law enforcement agency, which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, call upon all citizens of the City of Fairway, Kansas, and upon all civic and educational organizations to observe the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2025 as National Police Week. In the City of Fairway, I further call upon citizens of the City of Fairway to observe May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, or have become disabled in the performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Dated this 12th day of May, 2025. Okay, we'll move on to the monthly reports of the standing committees. Chief Chick is here this evening, so we'll learn about Consolidated Fire District Number 2. How are you, Chief? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me back again. Have several things to report to you tonight, but to begin with, it's been a busy first quarter. As you get our first quarter report, we're up about 14% in call volume in Fairway, which is not always a bad thing, but not altogether great news either. So we have seen a significant increase lately in assist type calls, which are the kind of calls where folks call us and they may not be having a current medical emergency, but could be on the ground, need to help them get up, those kind of things. And so really everything else is on track. All the other call types are very, very comparable to 2024 at this point in the year. And so we'll continue to work on that. One of the things that the CFD2 is doing, we're starting to look at ways that we can really embrace community risk reduction outside of just the traditional fire prevention model. And so we've got a group of firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics who are working together to come up with some ideas and structure a program that will allow us to reach out to members in the community who might be these kinds of calls we're talking about, those people who are falling, can't get up off the floor, things like that. And what we hope to do in the future is to offer a safe senior program, be able to go into homes of the folks who are staying in their homes longer in our community, and help advise them on things like trip hazards and safety concerns that we could mitigate before they fall or before they get injured. And so those are the kind of things that our internal group is working on from a risk prevention methodology. So more to come on that, but that's a new thing that we just kind of got up and running over the last couple of months here. And we're hoping to roll that out later this year or early next year and have some real momentum into getting those folks help. And as we all know, a lot of people in our community are trying to stay in their homes longer. They want to keep their independence, and we want to help them do that, but we want to do that in a safe manner and allow them to be as safe as possible and prevent the injuries that we see with the elderly. So that's some stuff that we're doing to react to what we're seeing in the call volume, not just in Fairway, but across the district. And so we're pretty excited about that and what fruit it might bear in the future. So a couple other things that I'd point out. When we look at the response time breakdowns, I was really concerned because the travel time for emergent fire jumped up, and that I was like, wait a second, you're not, like, that doesn't make the fire chief happy. And so we went and did a deep dive into that. What we found out was that the engine was leaving a call on the south end of the district and got called to a call on the north end of Fairway. And so there was a long response time, and there was only 2 fires. So it throws our metrics off when you're talking about such a small number of fires. So we've looked into that, make sure that, there's good reason for any kind of delay like that. So just a kind of a current events, as you go by the fire station at 63rd and Mission Road, you'll notice that there's construction fencing up, and that there's now dirt moving and lots of stuff taking place there. We're excited about that. Several pieces that I'd like to point out. First of all, a reminder to the mayor and council that that project has been planned for. We didn't go issue any new bonds. We didn't create any debt for the taxpayers. We've planned ahead and saved money and put away our pennies, and we're paying for that construction and the remodel of that fire station in cash out of our reserves. And so really proud of being able to do that for the taxpayers and not have to incur any future debt for the taxpayers in doing so. Second thing is that we looked at service delivery models during construction because we were concerned it's really going to turn the lives of the firefighters in the station upside down. They're not going to be able to work out on a daily basis, which is part of their job requirement. They're not going to be able to sleep in the quarters that they would normally sleep in. Potentially, there's going to be a period of time where they've got porta potties, and like it's going to get uncomfortable. But the firefighters came back and said, Chief, we'll figure out how to sleep. We'll find a corner, but we serve the people in the middle part of the district, and we're going to be here. And so all of them have decided. We talked about moving a unit at night to another station, and they were like, Chief, just make sure we got what we need, and we'll take care of the public. So I'm really proud of the sentiment. I appreciate the sacrifices that they're willing to make sure that they have no change in service delivered to the residents throughout the middle part of the district. So, and that does include Fairways. So just wanted to share the very selfless mentality that my folks have, which I'm super proud of. Should not go without mentioning that Nathan's been a great resource lately. We're we're all just into this project at the Fieldston and things like that. So he's been a great resource to make sure that all of the finances that are associated with that come in and are paid on time. So thank you, Nathan. Appreciate your support in that area. So last thing I'd like to report to you is that though it wasn't in Fairway, it tells the story of what our people are doing. We've worked really hard over the last couple of years to train at specific core functions in our job. And one of the core functions in our job is stopping loss, right? Like we get called for a fire, and the thing we want to be able to do is to preserve life, preserve property, and then stabilize an incident like that. And so I missed the last council meeting. I should have been here at your last council meeting, but it was good for good reason. I was in Mission at a building fire, and it was a huge success story for CFD2. It was a townhome that was literally a block long. There was 10 units. They're not fire stopped in the way that we build them today, so there was a lot of risk there. When we got called, it was already an advanced fire. We had 3 units pretty heavily involved. We arrived on scene and had heavy fire, but our folks went to work and did exactly as they've been trained, and we mitigated that incident, keeping the fire to just the 3 locations that it was in, and we saved the other 70% of the building. And so super proud of the work they did. When you have an advanced fire like that, just being able to stop it is miraculous, but to be able to stop it right where it's at and not have any further expansion is a big deal. And so very proud of our folks. And we just had another fire down in Prairie Village off 76th Street, a residential fire, and a quick response meant that fire that started in the bedroom, stayed in the bedroom, did no other damage to the home outside of the bedroom fire-wise. Of course, there's smoke, which is normal, but we've got a really good track record right now going of stopping the loss at the point of origin or the point where it's at when we arrive. And so I felt like it was important to share with you that the work, the time, the effort that everybody puts in and the money we put behind training is delivering results. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the council might have.
Chief, let me tell you, hearing that about your staff, that is awesome. I mean, it's fabulous that it, personally, I fear fire more than anything.
Absolutely.
That's just my personal issue, but we know how dedicated your staff is, and hearing about it is very encouraging.
Yeah,
We knew they would be, but thank you for sharing that.
we're thankful.
And congratulations on your construction.
Yeah.
And for being frugal with our taxpayer dollars. And we appreciate that too. And I'm sure it'll be a nice facility.
We're excited about it.
Will we have a ribbon cutting ceremony where we can come see it?
Yes, we absolutely will, and we'll certainly
be
invite
great.
you all to come and see what we've done,
Great.
To plan for the future there.
Is there anything, well, let me ask you this first. How are you going to identify the individuals who need the help in their homes for
Good
you
question.
to visit?
No, that's a fantastic question, and that's one of those questions that I think it's going to take a number of different ways of going about it. One of those might be connecting with our cities and seeing if, working individually with our cities to see if they know of anybody who might have some needs or have, that we could serve. Another way is going to be watching those call volumes and seeing when we're being called for those assist calls. And so we're already crunching the data and looking at that. we already know who our high utilizers are and where those addresses are. Those would be the people we go pick at first and go, hey, what can we do to assist you in remaining independent in your home, right? And find ways to help you do that safely. But there's going to have to be much more than that. As we're out in the community, we periodically get people say, hey, you know, I've got a neighbor that lives here that we don't see her a lot. She lives by herself. That might be somebody we could stop by and just offer a service to and go, hey, you know, no pressure, but if you ever want a home safety inspection, we'd be happy to come by and do that. We'll schedule it with you. And, you know, those are the kind of things that I think we're going to have to do business different in the future.
Well, I'll volunteer, although I know they do it themselves. Nathan and Chief Thurlow will be happy to help. too, 'cause they're gonna
great
know.
resources already, so I'd
Yeah,
anticipate
they're gonna
they'll
know.
be fantastic as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the chief? Kellyanne?
Kelly Busick, Ward 1. Thanks, Chief, for your report. How long do you think the remodel is going to take?
It's a great question. Thank you for asking that. We anticipate that we would be in there and fully functional by the end of the first quarter of next year. Really hoping that it takes place on that timeline, but I think we've all been through a construction project and know what the delays might be. But at this point, we're on track for that. All of the planning and scheduling that has been put together says that by the end of the first quarter next year, we should be in place.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
David?
All right, Chief, David Watkins, Ward 3. One question related to the program you're contemplating. You see advertised on TV those commercial devices where you help by falling, I can't get up. How do those get routed to you directly or indirectly, or where do those go? Or is it more efficient to just call 911 for a faster response?
The challenge is that those usually have some sort of a clearinghouse, so that goes to a device that will notify somebody to call 911. Some of those devices actually open up a speaker where they can speak into the home and say, hey, you know, are you okay? And then if the person doesn't respond, then they'll call 911 on behalf of that person. But they very few of them actually directly call us. And so they're great for people who live alone. The concern is if you live alone and you need help, pick up the phone and call 911. We're happy to help you. That's what we're there for. But if you're on the floor and you can't get up and your phone's across the room and all you have is the button that might be around your neck because you got that pendant, then that's the best case scenario, right? That's why people would get them. So, but very few of them go direct to us for communication. They go through some sort of a clearinghouse or a service. Yep.
Anyone else? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Administration and Finance, Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. We had a very full agenda on March 26th. Kudos to the Administration and Finance Committee for hanging tough for about a 4-hour meeting. We covered a number of topics. I'll just hit on a few. The committee did receive the presentation regarding the 53rd Street study, the crossing study that was commissioned. Those results, as well as the presentation itself, have been posted to the city website. They were up the morning after. The committee made no decisions or recommendations at that meeting. It will come up for future discussion at an upcoming meeting. We are still waiting for some things to fall in line that are outside the city's control regarding a potential funding agreement for 2820 West 53rd Street, or the former Houlihan's location. So I don't have much to report on there, but again, we're waiting for some other things to come into place that are beyond what the city can be a part of. So more to come on that. The last thing that I would mention is that was discussed at the committee meeting, although again there was more, it's part of the packet online, was a request from the Kansas City Country Club for 2 off-street parking dates for swim meets that they are hosting. That is on the agenda for new business this evening as well. So with that, the rest of the report I will let stand as submitted, and happy to answer any questions regarding the administration report.
Any questions for Nathan? Thank you.
Okay, for finance, I would just report that sales tax was slightly under our average budgeted amount for the year, but that is typical for the month of April. That is the sales tax that was collected in February, and you get through the holidays and lately Super Bowl activities here in Kansas City, and everyone will hit sort of that spending hangover and not spend so much in February. So that has been consistent with the last several years, is the low month for us. So no, but it was still higher than last year, so just as a point of comparison. With that, the monthly financials are attached, and departments are working in earnest on the 2026 budget. So I know Parks and Rec has already had their committee budget meeting. Public Works, I believe Bill sent out an email earlier today to schedule his. The administration's decision packages will be coming at you at the May meeting, and Chief will be sending out an email for probably the first 2 weeks of June for his as well. So department heads are working on budget. At the same time, we're also working on the 2024 audit. So there are 3 budget years that are currently at play for us. So if I second guess on a number, that's why. Happy to answer any questions on financials.
Any questions on financials? All right, thank you, Nathan. Police, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. We're busy. We, last month, we identified 40 people that needed to go to jail. That's a lot of arrests for the city of Fairway, some of which were individuals that were involved in police pursuits, striking officers in other cities, drug use. Our project on Shawnee Mission Parkway, the new construction, 3 individuals decided to take a tour of that facility. Prior to them leaving with any gifts, we contacted them and placed them in custody. The good news is we've been identifying most of the people or catching them as they are fleeing from us, most of which have some sort of felony warrant or drugs or something like that on them. Our activity is very high, and you should be seeing officers out with lights going. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the chief? Well, I can't see the lights from my house, but I can hear them. And we can tell the activity is up. Be safe.
Thank you.
All right, Public Works, is Bill online?
I am.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
Sorry I'm not there in person, but as you mentioned earlier in your proclamation, I am downtown getting ready to start meetings bright and early in the morning, helping serve APWA and mold the future of that professional organization. I will let my report stand as submitted and be happy to answer any questions. One thing I would like to highlight, as you mentioned earlier, it is May does contain National Public Works Week, and the chapter that we have here is the Kansas City Metropolitan Chapter, which spans both Kansas and Missouri, the metropolitan area of Kansas City. And we were invited, the board of the KC Metro Chapter was invited last week to go down to Jefferson City, to the Capitol, and we actually were on hand and actually got to meet Governor Mike Kehoe and get the National Public Works Week proclamation signed by him in person. That was a pretty neat deal. I've never been to Jeff City before, so that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet a governor. So I will report more on that next month, but be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Questions for Bill?
Mayor, if I may, Bill, could you just give a brief explanation as to why you were in that role and going to Jeff City?
Well, I serve on the board of the Kansas City Metropolitan Chapter, but I will be rotating off that board in August, as I have been chosen as the Region 6 Director for APWA and serve on the national board for up to 3 two-year terms going forward. So very happy to have been selected to do that. I'm replacing Joe Johnson, who presented us with our accreditation 2 years ago whenever we were reaccredited.
Congratulations, Bill. I know you'll represent us well.
I will do
No
that for-
questions, Bill. That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Parks and Rec, Bryce?
Thanks, Mayor. I'll let my report stand as submitted. I will highlight that I didn't mention in my report that the signs are out for the master plan in our parks and at the Mission up here at City Hall. So if you haven't had a chance, or any residents that haven't had a chance to take the survey for the master plan, I'd encourage them to do so. And also, I want to thank Mayor for helping us out with Arbor Day once again. And that was a good time. We had good weather for the first time in, I think, 3 years. So the children had a great time on Arbor Day last month. Happy to answer any questions.
Can you update us on the opening of the pool and how things are going?
Yeah, they're going great. So if you drive by there, there's a lot of power washers happening right now, but we have some kids helping us out as well. But the water is blue and clear right now. The tree is still trying to make that not clear and blue, but we will continue to fight through that as we do every year. But Renee and Jackson are training the kids, so you'll probably see quite a few trainings happening during the evening times and on the weekends here. So Renee and Jackson are putting in a lot of hours right now, getting our full staff up and ready for the season.
And I assume from your report that memberships are going well?
Yes, they are. So we're ahead of last year by about $6,000, but overall, our budget right now for revenues is up 10% from this time last year. So we're having a very good year so far.
Great. Any questions for Bryce? Carol Ann?
Kelly Busick, Ward 1. Bryce, I want to thank you and Jennifer and Bill and Nathan for getting together with volunteers to clean the Shawnee Methodist Mission Cemetery. I was walking by there on Saturday morning, and I came upon all these volunteers who are working in the cemetery, and it was really a wonderful surprise for me. So the gentleman that was organizing, his name is Benjamin Freedom, and he organized Eagle Scout Project, and they were there cleaning up the cemetery, taking out overgrowth, and cleaning headstones and so forth, and it was a wonderful thing to see, and I just want to thank them and thank you all again for getting that done. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
That took you how long to get that group together? A while.
Oh, it's been a minute. And that's all Jennifer, too, so I don't want to give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
She coordinated that whole thing.
Great.
Yep.
That is one of the complaints that we in Ward 1 do receive, and that's owned, for those of you that don't know, that cemetery land is owned by the Historical Society in Topeka. And I think Public Works mows it, but the upkeep is not always attended to appropriately. So the last few times that it's been done, it's been a scout group that has volunteered to do it. So hopefully we can continue that. Anything else for Bryce?
I
David?
wanted to thank Bryce also for putting the water in the pool. Walking by there the other day with the dogs, it was a welcome sight. It's just something about walking by a pool that has water, and it makes me feel good and tells me summer is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And since it's going to be 90 on Wednesday, can we go jump in by any chance?
I'll run that by Renee and Jackson, but I'll let you know.
Anyone else? Thank you, Bryce. Okay, moving on to the monthly reports of the special committees. Tree Board, Bill?
No report.
No report? Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment for consent agenda items only. I will read those into the record and then ask for public comment. A, approve minutes of the previous regular city council meeting. B, approve claims and appropriations, ordinance number 1824, April 2025. And C, approve intent to proceed form for the 2026 stormwater project. Is there anyone in the audience or online who would like to make public comment on the consent agenda items? So please come forward. Seeing none in the audience and none online. All right, these items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration and separate motion. Council, is there any discussion or an item you want removed? I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll move to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded that we approve items A, B, and C on the consent agenda. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. New business. Item A, consider Resolution 2025E, a resolution authorizing temporary parking on grass on certain private property for limited time and purpose pursuant to Section 10-58B5 of the Fairway City Code. Nathan, would you like to introduce that?
Sure. So as a general rule, the city does not allow parking on grass at any time in the city. However, there is a provision in our code that does allow the council to make exceptions for that. And with the Kansas City Country Club being primarily located in Mission Hills, on the Windsor entrance itself, as well as the green space immediately to the north of that, is actually owned by the club, but in the city of Fairway. And so because of the renovations that the club is undergoing, they are not able to have their team staging areas on the course as they normally would. So they are needing to make some alternate arrangements. We have met with the club and had some questions for them. And obviously, as staff, we cannot approve something that goes against the city code. So it comes before you. I did provide this memo to you since I couldn't put it up on the screen. There was also the map that you can see where the parking would occur. Again, this would be limited to June 11th and June 18th from 2 to 9 p.m., and that coincides with the 2 swim meets that will be occurring there this summer. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nathan? Okay. I'll open this agenda item. Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Jerry Williams, Ward 2. Nathan, there was a request to send an email out to the neighbors beforehand about this issue, and that happened, I assume.
So, yes, what we've done, and this was what I think the matter you brought up at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting, starting with this meeting, we actually sent out a constant contact to anybody who was selected to receive all of our emails or just the administration emails. And it was an email with a screenshot of our agenda as well as a link to the agenda packet itself. And we will continue to do that going forward.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment? Our policy is to have public comment after each new business item. Anyone would like to come forward? Nope. Anyone online?
I don't think there's anybody online.
Oh, okay. Yes, no comment. All right, I'll close public comment and ask for a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2025-E, which is a resolution authorizing temporary parking on grass at the Kansas City Country Club for a limited time and purpose as set forth in the ordinance pursuant to Section 10-58, Paren B, Paren 5 of the Fairway City Code.
And I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025E. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Item B, consider ordinance number 1825, an ordinance amending the building regulations of the Fairway City Code pertaining to grounds for denial of building permits, adding new section 15-858 to the Fairway City Code. Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. So this new ordinance for the Fairway City Code essentially just requires that if any property owner in the city would like to issue or request a building permit application or building permit for a project on their property, staff will verify before any permit is issued that they are current on all city taxes or any other debts that they would owe to the city of Fairway. On the ordinance, you can see there are essentially three requirements that they have to meet in terms of no delinquencies or no debt. There is, of course, an exception if we do have a life safety issue that needs to be addressed. We would not delay the issuance of a permit for a life safety issue, but there would be follow-up that we could then do to ensure that the delinquencies are corrected, probably likely prior to the closeout of the permit. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nathan? David?
And this may be a question for Todd or Jim also. Subsections 2 and 3 are pretty clear. I was trying to think of when subsection 1 could arise, delinquent debt or delinquent outstanding financial obligations. I guess that could be a fine, but what would be the circumstances in which there'd be a debt owed to the city by
Sure. So
property
it would
owner.
likely be through a special assessment as a result of a code violation in the past. And this goes back to long ago. I know the city had to raise a home over in Ward 4, and so that cost just sat there as a lien on the property taxes. So it would likely fall under the definition of a tax. But when we look at how it is billed to the homeowner on their taxes, it's referred to as a special assessment.
Yeah, I've always considered assessments to
Yeah.
be taxes, but
I mean,
Better to be- better to be-
technically speaking, I don't know how this scenario would even come about, but if for some reason they had a debt on, if they booked a party at the pool or somewhere and didn't, pay for it, one, I don't think Bryce would let it happen anyway, but if somehow they slipped it through, we could hold that against them if we needed to collect payment for something like that.
Yeah,
Any city debt.
I'd rather paint paint with a broader brush than a narrower brush on
Yeah.
this one. So I just wanted to try to get it straight in my mind, how that might arise. Thank
Sure.
you.
Kellyanne?
Kelly Busick, Ward 1. Nathan, when you say delinquent, what do you mean by delinquent? Is it past due? Is it owed for years? And what are we talking about delinquent?
So if we go to the county website and there is a balance that is past due, that would be considered delinquent. And oftentimes, the county, on the internal side that we can privy, it's easy for us to get to it, although publicly there are ways you can get around the county website and see it as well. But when we log into the back end, it'll pop up as a red flag that says if there's a delinquency on the taxes. And that could be a month, that could be 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we will open this item for public comment. Anyone in the audience wish to come forward? Nope. Okay. I will call for a motion.
Mayor, I motion that the council approve ordinance number 1825, an ordinance amending the building regulations of the Fairway City Code pertaining to grounds for denial of building permits, adding new section 15-858 to the Fairway City Code.
Second, is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 1825. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. All right, item C, consider a sign deviation request for 4210 Shawnee Mission Parkway. That one's yours too, Nathan.
Thank you, Mayor. This one I'm probably the least technically knowledgeable of, but we'll get through this. So as you can see, we have the staff report from the Planning Commission. They have requested some deviations from the municipal code regarding signs, the number, size, that sort of thing. The packet is pretty detailed in terms of what it is they're requesting. I believe this was unanimously recommended by the Planning Commission for approval of the governing body here this evening. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I believe we also have a representative from the Fields and Development here to answer any questions.
That individual is? Yeah. I'm Marty Palmer with View Sign and Light. Okay. I'll have them come forward if you have any questions. Guess they don't. Okay,
Well, just procedural, I noticed the planning commission is recommending approval.
correct.
And is that, we don't have a staff approval when the planning commission approves it? Or staff, I assume staff's
The staff recommended approval to the planning commission.
to the planning commission?
So that would have been, that would have been our city clerk and community development officer.
Thank you.
They, as you know, David, they start the process, staff starts the process, and the planning commission approves it and recommends it to us. Yes. Yes,
No, it was all approved.
it was all approved?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for public comment? Nope, okay. I'll entertain a motion, please.
Mayor, I move that we approve. How's that?
That's good.
Item C on new business, which is the requested sign deviations for 4210 Shawnee Mission Parkway.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the sign deviation request. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. All right, next on the agenda is the governing body comment. During this time, members of the governing body will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken during this time. Council, is there anything that you would like to bring to our attention? Nope. All right, we'll close that section. Now, public comment for items not listed on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on anything? All right, and I assume no one's online yet. I don't want to leave anyone out.
No.
Okay, we'll close public comment, and we have an executive session planned for this evening for non-elected personnel matter, exception KSA 75-4319. B1. I will tell those of you in the audience this evening that no business will be conducted after we return from the executive session. We will,
Motion.
right.
Yep.
We will, after I have the
Yep.
motion, we will be going upstairs to the conference room up there, but after we return, we will immediately adjourn, so there will be no additional business conducted. Who has the motion? Whitney, would you please make that motion?
Yeah, Mayor, I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss individual employees' performance pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception, KSA 75-4319B1. I ask that City Administrator Nagelmeyer, City Attorney LaSala, and Attorney Jim Mosselman accompany the city council. The opening meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:42.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we'll see you upstairs. Thank you all for coming this evening. We appreciate it.